Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has happened before the end of 2021. Our first comment of the show is someone else other than Slav, Nick Paps. Take a round of applause, my friend. Take a bow.
If he can't type properly, does that count still?
I was going to say, he was so concerned with getting in first. There was a typo, but we'll let him off because it's Slav he's up against. So
That's
it
true.
just shows you can do it.
So it counts, yeah? It counts. He's not going to get docked any points.
Well, wait, we're having to check with VAR on that. Although we don't trust VAR these days, mate. But hey-ho, that's a whole nother thing. Hey, mate, do you reckon they'll end up doing, I know this is more of a conversation for tomorrow, but AI with VAR would probably actually be way more efficient. But we'll keep that conversation for tomorrow when we talk about cryptos.
Well,
Mr.
they're doing
Debbie, how are you?
the thing with offside, aren't they?
Say what?
I think in the World Cup, they're going to have something with offside to do with AI, I think.
Are they? I didn't know
They're going to test it out. So if it works, then I guess that will be brought to the Premier League before you know it.
Well, I know there's a lot of things with farming and agriculture that is having massive benefits on crops and things like that in smart grids in cities. But again, we digress. So we'll save the rest of that conversation maybe for tomorrow. Did you have a good weekend, sir?
I had a very busy weekend. And yeah, so we had my kids' school fair, and my wife was cooking for the school to help the school out. So that basically means more responsibility for Mr. Demi, which I don't particularly like. So
wait, because when you were at university, you used to be a dinner lady. So does that mean you were serving up the food that your wife was cooking at the fair?
No, certainly not. I was buying the food, so I thought. Well, I said, so why don't you just keep us some at home instead of me going and purchasing the food that you've just made for us? But she wasn't having it. I know.
When,
at least keep a couple of things at home. No, she wasn't having it.
Ladies, if you're watching, or maybe it's the men that do the cooking in your home department, no judgment. It's all good either way. An expression of your soul, whatever you want to do. But whoever's doing the cooking, like when my missus makes stuff, I'm like, that is so freaking yummy. Why don't you just leave some extra for us? I'm totally on board with you on that.
I know. But no, she wasn't having it. She's like, no.
And then they just give you the look, don't they? They just
not even a little taster.
If you touch my food, you're going to lose a finger. You are going to lose a finger if you touch my food. That kind of look.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
she's pretty fierce when it comes to that.
We're just about to jump into some FX news, but let's just do a couple more shout outs. So we've got Roy in the house. We've got Brucey in the house as well. So look, let's jump in. Give us your rundown of the last 7 days in the world of FX from your point of view as a professional trader, and then we'll get into today's topic. So yeah, just give us your update and your point of view over the last 7 days and where things currently sit overall.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's the end of the year now, and this is kind of the time where, a lot of, for the next 2 weeks, I think you're going to get a lot of, the normal volatility, and then the markets will start to kind of die down. So yeah, in respect to the last 7 days, the markets have been as they've always been. There's some good opportunities in FX. I've not been very active, if I'm being honest, in the FX space, but the 1 or 2 trades, I'm doing 1 or 2 trades a week at the moment. So I'm just kind of doing more swing setups, but the markets are certainly, they're pretty predictable, a lot less crazy than cryptos for sure. And, what I love about trading FX is that, even, no matter what's going on in other asset classes, there's always opportunities, as long as you've kind of put the time in to put your alerts in and be organized, there's some really good, easy kind of trading opportunities. So, so from that point of view, it's been looking great. And, and I expect that it will continue to do so for another 1 or 2 weeks. And then I think we'll probably see a break. I'll be taking a break from trading over the Christmas period, as I normally do, for at least 1 or 2 weeks, just to kind of refresh, wind down, and go again in the new year. Setting the targets for the new year is always a good time over Christmas.
So that's a nice segue into today's show. So how to manage the FX markets during the festive season. So for the newer members to the group who are just checking in with the show, give us, how does it work in the city? So when you're working on the trading floors or at the hedge funds, managing these big $200 million accounts and larger, how does it work in that ecosystem? And then is there anything you can take from that as a professional retail trader that our listeners can also utilize and leverage off?
Yeah, I mean, look, it actually depends on the firm, but almost certainly you'll have somebody on the desk managing positions even during the festive period. But, they tend to be less active. It's more kind of just, if there's opportunities, they'll take them, but it's just really just making sure that nothing crazy is happening in the markets. At the end of the day, it's about producing results. So you can trade, but they tend to reduce position sizes during this time. And, if there's an opportunity that you're still looking, but really most people are there just to kind of hold the fort, and they're more kind of just interested in their Christmas parties and drinking and so on. But it's it's a time where, of course, really you shouldn't really be relying on the last, the few days of the festive period to make your returns. Like, you should have done it by now. So it's kind of really assessing how the year has gone, and then it's just about planning forward. And if I'm honest, a lot of hedge funds, this is where they tend to be quite ruthless. The underperformers tend to get cut and or spoken to and given like a 3-month kind of warning that if their performance doesn't up in the first quarter, then they're pretty much out of a job. It's pretty cutthroat. So, so for a lot of people, it's like potentially looking for new jobs, and for the top performers, it's getting their bonuses and getting motivated to start the new year. So I would be kind of advising people to be doing the same, really reviewing how the year's gone. Have you hit your targets? In terms of like money in your pocket, in terms of developing your knowledge, in terms of improving what you've done, how have the last 12 months been, and how would you have liked them to be? And then in the next 12 months, what would you like to change? And really it comes down to people's daily habits. What is it that you can do? So, when you reach this point next year, 2022, what can you do better? No matter where you are, that's one of the things I always ask myself: what can I do better to either maintain or improve my performance? I think all top traders, all top performers are always looking for the next level, always looking for it. And that's what keeps you there. Otherwise, you end up, dropping your standards, I'd say. Let's have some water.
So is there any kind of, and that's a really good breakdown, is there any kind of things in particular that the newer guys that maybe they've just started trading recently or this year, is there any kind of message or things for them to really pay attention to during these next couple of weeks leading up to Christmas?
Yeah, look,
can you believe it's less than 3 weeks away? It's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. The year's just gone so quickly. It really has. And but it's like for me, this is a great time to be developing rather than, especially if you're new. Like if you're an active trader, I would carry on trading really probably until, up until just before Christmas, and then I'd probably stop, have a break, and then start maybe 5th of Jan, 6th of Jan, that kind of time. So that's generally kind of what most the first week is when people start to look to get back into it. So, but from a new point of view, so if you're quite new to trading, one of the things that I like to do is, firstly, if you haven't got a trading plan, then start. That's where you want to start. You want to start working on that. If you have got a trading plan, you want to kind of review it, and you want to reset your goals for the year. So sit and think about, okay, what is it I want to achieve? And then you want to try and reverse engineer them. So, okay, if I want to be doing X amount per month, or I want to be doing whatever it is your goals are, then you have to work out how you're going to do it, what account size you need. You need to understand your metrics, all those kind of things. Now, one of the really cool tools that I like with testing strategies that you could really start doing straight away is to use backtesting software. So, as some of you know, when I was really developing my strategies and learning, I used a software called Forex Tester, and I did a lot of learning on there and developed my strategies. But most of the guys on this group have got TradingView, and I don't know if people are aware, but you can use the replay function on TradingView to go back and test your strategies. It's not as developed as Forex Tester, but you can definitely do a lot with it. So that's something, again, that I would really start considering doing. So using that and then paper trading your strategy so you can get a feel for, how well it would perform in the real markets. And that's going to give people confidence. So, and also experience. So you can use the next few weeks to do that and really start to make notes of some of the things that you figure out. Before considering taking that to market and trading with a live account. I think that's a smart move to do. So these are the kind of things you should be doing from now really for the next month, especially if you're new. I wouldn't be getting into trading now because December can be tricky for all these reasons, and also it's hard to tell. The volatility could still be there even during the holidays, especially because people aren't going away as much, but I would say it's still prudent to probably take some time out and do this work because it will help you in the long run.
Awesome. Cool. So Bruce is saying he loves the replays feature on TradingView. Is Forex Tester free?
No, it's not free. It's a one-off cost. From memory, it's like $200-300, something like that. The free version that they give you a trial period. No, sorry, it's not a trial. You can have a free version, but it's really just to test the software. It's kind of useless to you because you literally get a month's worth of data, so it's not going to really help you. But it's extremely powerful because it kind of works. It looks like MT4 basically. So it's all of your MT4 indicators, like even our indicators, can be plugged in, and then you could go back and test everything. So it's pretty powerful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So look, that's pretty much the segment. FX trading during the festive period. Hopefully that's given you a bit of insight and inspiration. Let's jump over to the biggest news of the week, because like you said, we've still got the usual volatility as usual. Facebook user, please identify yourself by clicking on the StreamYard link. It's Monday, guys. I'm wearing my UGG boots again. I have got my UGG boot knockoffs on as well. It just must be an Aussie thing. And Aniko as well is here. Hey guys, happy to be here again. Great to have you with us. Mr. Demi, take it away with the news. I believe you bought your missus some UGG boots yourself this weekend after my inspiration. I guess after you saw me modeling them on last week. Oh no, the week before show. Obviously that's just inspired you, right? You thought, maybe the missus might.
Exactly, mate. They look so good on you, mate, with those shorts that I thought it's only natural I should buy something for my missus.
That's how we roll here in Oz, mate. That is how we roll, sir.
Yeah. Just remember where you're from. Because that's not how we roll here in London.
No, I'm getting confused because I'm starting to get a tan line again. So I can't remember where I'm from.
Okay.
That would be a sight I would love to see. Brucey in a pair of Ugg boots in Wales. I think you're in Wales, aren't you, Brucey? That's probably where you would actually need them. Nick saying he didn't buy knockoffs for his missus though. Lol. You'd be surprised. You would be surprised.
My life wouldn't be worth living, mate, if I did that. So yes. Right, let's have a look, guys. So and then we'll break down a pair. So let's go and see what's coming out this week. So quite an important week. So today we've got Broadbent speaking, and again, this is just kind of, potentially, going to give us a bit of an insight. One of the things that we're expecting here in the UK is an increase in the interest rate, probably in the first quarter of next year. So all these kind of speeches are important because they can give some clues as to whether that's going to happen or not. I mean, the market's kind of pricing it in, and mortgage rates have gone up, so the market is really, they're kind of like the mortgage providers, banks are basically jumping in front of any rate hike. So it's going to be quite important, especially if they kind of, it can also be the other way, because like the market at the moment is pricing in a hike in the UK, and sometimes one of these reports can be very bearish because it's been priced in. Sterling has naturally increased in value based around that, and what can happen is, let's say for example, there might be a hint of something in the speech that says like, our growth figures may not get hit if there's a lockdown, for example, right? Like that's the kind of thing that could be said. And if something like that is said, that's going to have a very negative impact on sterling immediately. So that's why it's kind of important to know what's going on, but also in the context of things as well, because we know what's going on now. The masks are back in the UK. You've got to kind of wear those masks again. And then obviously the next step is, is there going to be a lockdown? Hopefully not, but even the threat of it can create some market volatility. So it's just something to be aware of. And then the rest of the week, we've got the rate statement coming out. Not expecting any changes right now, but again, the statement is the important one because it's more about sentiment. What is being said. I mean, especially if this is exactly as forecast for it to stay the same. What is the sentiment in Australia for potentially, moving the interest rates? So that's going to be important as well. That's happening tomorrow. And what else have we got? We've got the Bank of Canada rate statement as well, okay, coming out on Wednesday, and then we've got Governor Lowe speaking on Wednesday as well, which again is kind of going to be important based on what happened on Tuesday. Nothing going on Thursday, and then we've got the CPI numbers coming out from the US on Friday, which, again, inflation is going to be important to see how we are, what the demand is like. And obviously we've got the Christmas period as well, which can create demand. But at the moment, previous 0.9 expected to be lower on the CPI front in the US. So, yeah, as always, like there's a lot of data coming out this week. First week of the month is well, I guess it's the second week of the month, because we had the start of the week last week, but this is it's busy, and then next week normally it gets a bit quieter, so there should be quite a bit of volatility this week in the markets.
Okay, cool. So with that being said, what is jumping out for you as a currency pair to look at for the 5-minute FX trade and 15-minute challenge? What would you be looking at?
what I've done today is something different. So before we got on, I used my Forex screener, and this is quite a good tool to use. And I quite like this pair here, sterling kiwi, a cross pair. And it's quite a volatile pair as well. So I'm kind of favouring a simple play. And what I did is that I basically screened for overbought and oversold FX pairs, and I had a look at all of these, and sterling kiwi looked quite interesting, and so that's where I want to focus today. I want to focus on the sterling kiwi, and I've done some analysis that I want to kind of share with you guys as to how I would be approaching something like this. So my choice for today would be sterling kiwi.
Cool. Okay, let me just check in with the comments. And also, guys, give us some likes and some hearts, please, before we give you a professional trading setup. If you're enjoying the show, it just helps our ranking and algorithm within Facebook. So if you can just take a moment to click the heart or the thumbs up, that would be most appreciated and make us believe that Santa Claus is real, and that is a present that we will gladly accept for Christmas. Thank you.
Exactly. He is real, isn't he?
Just while we're waiting for some love on Facebook, favorite Christmas movie? What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, it's got to be Home Alone. Did you hear that? Actually, I heard on the radio that you can Airbnb the house. Apparently.
Well, I've always wanted to, and obviously now it's probably not going to happen, at least for a couple of years. But I've always wanted, the Wham. Well, you'll know Wham. You love George Michael, right? Or you did.
I still love George Michael.
Fair enough.
He still lives with us.
Just like Elvis.
In his music. Exactly.
Just like Elvis. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother podcast, mate, which we should probably do, actually. We could have a good time on that. Anyway, we digress. Last Christmas, the video on that, you can Airbnb that. I've always wanted to do that. Take families out and your partner's family and everything and just go and live in that chalet for like a few days over Christmas. But apparently it's like booked out for like 2 years in advance at least.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it would be pretty cool actually. But yeah, no, that's the one that pretty much as a standard we watch probably every Christmas, Home Alone. It's just Christmas. Yeah.
Do the kids know the moves and the lines off by heart?
No, the kids are too young. They haven't seen it, but maybe my eldest will be at the right age now. She'd enjoy it, I think. She'd enjoy it, yeah.
My sister started playing it this year to her kids. They're 4 and 2, and they're just in fit. She's already started playing it, and they're just in fits of laughter. She's sending me like videos, and the kids are just rolling around the floor. I don't
really. That's a good idea, actually. I might have to stick it on for them. Yeah,
you should, because they'll pick up on like, I don't know what it is they're picking up on, but it'll be interesting to hear because her kids are just going crazy over it. Like literally, they don't know what's going on, but they're just laughing their heads off.
There you go.
Okay, back to the trading.
Right.
Too much festivity.
To the trading. That's it. So let's bring in. And by the way, for those that are short on time, this is a great feature you should really familiarize yourself with on trading. You can do it on multiple time frames. I mean, I just start with the daily, just as the way you want to kind of use it is it's just an initial filter to just alert you to some possible setups. So I use this really, whenever I'm short on time and I don't have time to go through everything, I'll just have a quick look to see if there's any obvious opportunity in that I can find in a few minutes. And so that's what I've done. So I'm going to focus on this pair. Excuse me. I'm going to show you what I've done before we got on. So I just kind of looked at this and I thought to myself, well, if you kind of look at this, I mean, this is, we don't have a huge amount of data here. on this particular. There might be some other broker that gives you more data, but on the one that I've chosen here, we go back to 2000 and actually no, there's a bit more. I tell a lie. I didn't realize it goes back more. But so, in fact, let me just do something here. I'm just going to stick the weekly time frame for a second. I just want to see the whole picture without messing up my one. So this is the weekly. Okay. So that's what the weekly looks like. So, wow, it actually goes back to 1975. So what I find, what's quite interesting here is that obviously you can kind of see the trends. The market sort of, for a long time was going up, and then it kind of just went down, went up, and then it's been trending. But more importantly is in the now. Okay, what is it doing right now? And this is a really, really important step in identifying the kind of setup you should be looking for. And if you just kind of put that big block there, you can see this market in general is ranging, right? It's just ranging. So, and there's, you could, it obviously can go up to the top there. You can see there's nice reactions even here up to there, but essentially the market's ranging. So that kind of gives you an idea of the kind of, strategies that you could implement on the lower time frames. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go back to the hourly time frame here, but that just gives us a good idea as to what kind of strategies we can implement. So with that being said, I took the daily chart and I drew some lines and identified some levels. So you can see the market reacts really nicely on this line. So I've used that, connected these 2 points. You can see the market, when it was going sideways, it did pop through, but it is still a relevant line. Okay, this is still a relevant line. It's a reactive line, and you can see right now the market is essentially right there. Okay, so just literally in this, getting to this point here should take really no more than 2 minutes. Maybe 3 or 4 maximum, because all you need to do is you're drawing this line and you've got this support line here. You can see this is an important line here. So right now, that there is some important resistance here. So here's the conclusion that I would make on this daily time frame. My conclusion would be, okay, this is a key zone here. If the market was to break through and close above, I would be then looking for a pullback here to go and test these highs. If the market holds here, then I'm going to be looking for the market to go back down and find probably another level. So probably here would be a good level. So if I just draw this in, you can see right there is the next level down. You can see resistance, 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 support, 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 and even there is quite close. And you can see what's also great is that even recently, the market has spent a lot of time around this area. This is an area of interest. You can see it kind of going through it. So 191.74 at some point is going to be important, as well as this one here. So having done that, now it's just about figuring out how we're going to make money from this. So either, as I said, we close above and then we're looking for this market to go higher, or potentially we hold here and then we're looking for shorting opportunities down to 191.80. So this is where I'd now use the lower time frames to figure out basically how to use this for an opportunity. So if I head over to the 4-hour time frame, I may come back to this. You can see a couple of things. So the market right now is holding on this inner trend line. Okay, it's holding on this inner trend line, and we've had a good strong push, broken so we've gone back to the C, created the 38.2 pullback, and we've just broken the B. Now, what that would imply is that the market could potentially continue up and go and hit this area here. Okay, which is 199.15. Okay, that's where, roughly speaking, maybe even a little bit higher, 199.20. Now, if I go back over here, that's not too far from this kind of zone, right? So that's 199.60. So this is a really important zone. I would, if we make our way up here, I would be looking for short opportunities somewhere up here. That would be the case. Now, before we even look at the hourly time frame, I just want to share something with you. How do you know if this market is going to go up here or if the market's going to pull back? Well, we're just going to find clues. So right now, you know, I'm not a big fan of playing breakouts. So for me, this is not an entry point. You know, for me, this is not an entry point. I'd be looking for a pullback on the lower time frame, like on an hourly time frame, potentially to buy it up to here. So if the market does close bullishly on the daily, I'd be looking for a pullback to buy it up to here. On the flip side, let's get our pen out without 1 second. Let's get this pen out. That loads up. The way to get in on a bearish stance would be if this happens. So a lot of, you know, trading is about planning, and it's about waiting for the market to show you. So for me, right now, there's a couple of things that I can see. Right now, we have divergence. Okay, so we have some divergence on the MACD right here. The market has made a high. The MACD has yet to make a high. So that's something to look out for here. On the flip side, we are above the zero line, which you'd expect because the market has been going up. So from that point of view, you know this is quite bullish because we actually have come back to the zero line. We've crossed above again on the MACD, and it's now looking like it's heading up higher. So if you want to be looking to short this, in my opinion, we have to break this in a trend line. So you need to see the market basically do something like this, like maybe a spike up, and then maybe a breakdown like this, maybe a pullback, and then we could look to start to short this down. Okay, and that could be your target one. And then once it breaks that outer trend line, then I think we're heading down to that 190, 170 that I marked down on the higher time frame. But if that does not happen, then the opportunity is not going to be there. The opportunity is going to be basically looking for pullbacks to buy. So here's the key, guys. The key is today's daily bar and possibly tomorrow's daily bar. You want to see a close. Essentially, you want to see a close above 196, you know, where this red line is, 196.50. At the moment, it's testing it. Now, I know volume is not as strong on FX, but you can still look at volume. So you could add in your volume if it shows it. Hold on, let's get rid of that one. Let me see if built-ins. Oh, here's that one. That's strange. Didn't show properly. Let's try session volume. Okay. For some reason, my volume is not showing up properly, but hopefully yours is working. But like that's, you know, that's something that you can look at. You can see if the up green bars is showing up volume. So let me see if I can get it on the 4-hour chart potentially. Maybe there's a little bug because it would be quite useful to kind of give you my view if it's available. If not, here we go. It's working on the 4-hour. So if you have a look here, guys, you can see that there's a decent amount of buying volume here. So that's a good sign. Okay, that's a good sign. You can go and do this on the hourly and to get a bit of a better view. So if I change this to an hourly time frame as well, that's pretty strong. You've got two good volume bars, and even here, that's two higher volume bars on the upside, and then slightly lower on the red side. So that's a great sign. And look at this as an opportunity. What I've just noticed is that on the hourly time frame, the D is going to complete here. So what you're probably going to be waiting for is potentially the market to maybe pull back. Now, here's the interesting thing, and maybe Gavin has already noticed it, or some of you guys have noticed it. If we have a breakout, you remember, like when we say with breakouts, sometimes the market can overextend. What's really interesting is that the overextension is exactly on our red line. Can you see that? So there's our 200 line there. So this could do something like this. It goes there, it pulls back. We've had a nice daily close. Then you could be looking to buy this up to here. And then this block here becomes your short zone. So right now, we've got to play the waiting game. But I think considering all things being equal, for me, it's about waiting for the confirmation to potentially buy this. Otherwise, we're looking to either short it here, or we're looking for a break of this in a trend line to get in short here. And that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Loving your work, Mr. Demi. So the Find Me an FX Trade in 15 Minutes challenge has just been completed, and it's on the GBP Kiwi, just for confirmation. So we'll cut this up and we'll put it out on YouTube. So if you're watching the replay, you probably would have already seen this before you watch the replay. You'll see the FX Trade segment that we'll put out on YouTube and in the group. We're getting some questions in about cryptos. Guys, the crypto show's tomorrow. We don't want to mix it up. We know we've got the diehards here that want to discuss FX. So we'll keep it to FX. And then, yes, tomorrow, same time, same place, we'll be discussing all things cryptos, lots and lots of things to discuss. So, yeah, mate, that was a really good breakdown. I know it would have been, I know it might have gone over some people's heads, but that was pretty straightforward. If it did go over your head, guys, watch the replay, but don't just watch it. Knowledge is one thing, but having wisdom is when you take action and you learn and understand how to do it for yourself. And I speak to people and they're like, yeah, I know what I'm doing on the charts, but as soon as I get onto my own chart, I get confused and flustered. That's why we're doing this segment for you guys. We're trying to help as many people as we can. Even if you're not a student, we're still trying to give you as much value as possible. Pause the video, recreate these lines and see if you can start to learn via osmosis and start transmuting that knowledge into wisdom that you can actually use. That's why we're doing this. Don't get lazy, guys. Don't just watch it and then go, yeah, that's it. Do your research, do your homework, recreate this, and then see if you can do it without watching the video, and then watch the video back and see where the lines are, and you will improve. Anything you want to add on that, mate, before we go?
Yeah, I think one of the things that there's a lot of, not mistakes, but like limitations that people kind of have or make. And one of the things that I notice with people is that so there's different levels. When you're a beginner, just enjoy the process, just learn, don't be in a rush, all that stuff. Okay, like that's all relevant. Just keep learning, improving, listening, practicing. That's all good. I think that the people that I kind of really want to address is that the people that are further ahead. So maybe you're listening to this stuff and you're thinking, yep, I get it, I can do that. And maybe you can, that's great. But ultimately, you've got to change the way that you look at what you do. And it's not just to kind of say, hey, I was right, or predict where it's going to go, and then look at it in 3-4 weeks' time and say, yeah, that was literally spot on. It went there, it was perfect. Because if you're working in a hedge fund, no one's going to reward you for being right. They're going to reward you for making money. So, you have to get hungry. You have to get results focused. That's the most important thing. So yes, you have to develop, you have to learn, but ultimately you've got to put a bit of pressure on yourself to get results. Because ultimately, if you're not getting results, then sometimes, like, I've said it before. Sometimes when people on the outside that don't understand trading, we sometimes give them a bit of a hard time, right? We say, like, they don't get it. They don't get the market's volatile. They don't get that you can't make money every day. And I stick by what I said. I've said that before. But ultimately, sometimes their wisdom is also right. Like, how much money have you made? Like in the last year, in the last 2 years, in the last 3 years? And if it's always like, oh, but I'm still developing, I'm still learning, at some point, you have to get to the other line, and that's what you have to put that pressure on yourself to deliver. So for me, learn, absolutely, but ultimately use this information and say, well, look, how am I going to be ready for these opportunities? How am I going to make money from these opportunities to actually show that I'm actually making progress? And that's really my challenge to you now. Like, if you're not consistently making money, that's what you need to do in 2022. If you've been at this for more than 2 years, you need to start now putting some pressure on yourself to get results, in my opinion. And if I was coaching you one-to-one, I would be doing that for you. I would be pushing you to do that, and I would be not accepting still learning after such a period. So that's probably why you're not going to hire me, because, like, you're probably not going to want me to be doing that. But, like, sometimes you need to do that for yourself if you haven't got a coach doing that for you. It's really, really key, guys. Otherwise, you're just, I hate to say it, but I don't want you to be wasting your time. You need to get results. That's what it's about, right? And I know it may sound harsh, but really, that's what you're doing this for, to change your life, your family's life, and so on. And the capital and the opportunities are there. You've just got to take them. Exactly that. Wise words, Mr. Demi. Before we bounce, I didn't see these messages in the comment section for favorite Christmas movie. So Roy is saying Elf. That is a pretty good one. I love the original. What was the original one with Dudley Moore in it? He was an elf as well. You know that one? No. It escapes me now. That was a brilliant Christmas movie when I was a kid. Anyway, so there's that one. And Elf, that's a good one as well. And Bruce is saying a new one called A Boy Called Christmas. I haven't heard of any new ones this year. No. But I might check that one out. I tried to rewatch The Snowman last year, and it didn't go down well. It did not go down well at all, and made myself look even older, actually. So yeah, that's on that one. And yeah, any other Christmas movies, let us know, guys. We've only got a couple more shows to do before Christmas. So yeah, we'll see you next week for an FX show. And tomorrow we will be back for our crypto show, Crypto Like a Pro, with me, Gavin, the host, and the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Andy Demi. Just a little 30-second sneak preview of what we're going to be discussing tomorrow. Are you asking me? Yeah, do you want to just give a little tease? Yeah. So obviously, look, the markets have been very volatile the last few weeks, or especially the last few days. And for a lot of people, they might be kind of panicking. But this is what we want. We want these opportunities, and yeah, in the short term, it can be disheartening to see your portfolio going down in value. But in the long term, you're going to be really grateful for it. You're going to be very grateful for it if you're, and it's all about being prepared and ready for it. And that's really the key. Is tomorrow I'll be speaking about how to be prepared, how to actually enjoy these moments, and actually be really thankful that we're getting, opportunities to buy really great projects at reduced prices. It doesn't make the projects any worse, and that's the key to understanding that. Is like, this is where people panic, and this is where you have to step up, and it's going to be, that's what I'm going to be sharing with you tomorrow, how to do that and how to stay positive in these kind of difficult, more challenging times, and actually how to take advantage of it as well. Awesome. And just a reminder, thank you, Facebook user. It was Santa Claus the movie, the one that I was talking about with Dudley Moore. Absolute legendary film, mate. Amazing movie.
although I haven't seen it for a few years, so it'll probably seem really old because it came out in 1985. I was still in the womb then. I must have watched it in the womb.
No,
Wink,
you
wink.
weren't. You were like
Wink.
20 years old in 1985,
20 years old, still living in my mum and dad's basement. Yeah.
There you go.
That was me. Guilty as charged, Your Honor. Guilty as charged. Right, guys, we're going to bounce. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. See you tomorrow for crypto, midday UK time. Love you lots. See you later, guys.
Take care, guys.